One of the most asked questions we've gotten lately here on our YouTube channel is, how do you rig a dead flying fish to catch a big bluefin tuna here in Southern California? For whatever reason, those bluefin will not look at a lure, they will not look at a live sardine, they will not look at anything other than the little tiny anchovies they're eating and this big, nasty, winged, smelly mullet. I don't get it. I probably never will get it, how they could ignore everything else that comes in the water, but for whatever reason, they see this guy, it's game on. Earlier in the season especially, if we slid one of these rigged into a foamer, it wasn't a matter of minutes, it was a matter of seconds before you got bit. I was a little slow adapting this, but some friends really converted me, and now I truly believe this is the best way to get a bite from a big bluefin tuna. So here's normally what I do. These come in a 3-pack. I'll pull a bait out, they're frozen solid, and you want to keep them that way while you're fishing. I'll take the bait, just toss them in the bait well. I'll give it about 2 or 3 minutes in the bait well, and what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to defrost the entire bait. All I want to do is defrost these joints right here, and what those joints do is they hold his wings. So now what I've got is a bait that's frozen solid, but I can actually move and articulate the wings. Once I've got my wings defrosted, I'm gonna take a wooden skewer, straight up kebab skewer. I literally stole these out of the kitchen and got yelled at by my wife. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna go right in front of the wings. You can even clip the gill a little if you have to. I'm gonna push this, and this bait's frozen solid, so it's gonna take a little bit of work, which is great because that means it won't move or tear out. I'm gonna jam it all the way through the bait. Okay, I only need half the skewer, and because I'm very cheap, all I do is I push the pointy end through, I will bust it off here, and then I've got a skewer to rig another bait. So I'm gonna save that. Now, once I've got my skewer through my bait, I'm gonna open the wings, and I'm gonna either take the tip of one of my hooks or the skewer itself, and I'm just gonna punch a little hole in the webbing in the wings, right behind the second bone. This is the first, that's the second, and that gives you enough strength to where when I tie this guy up, it's got some purchase to grab onto, and it's not gonna rip right out of the bait. Now that I've done that, this is rigging floss, comes in a lot of weights. I like the heavier stuff. I think this is 50 pound. Cut off about an 8-inch section, cut that in half, gives me 2 pieces. I'm gonna take this floss, I'm gonna stick it right through that hole that I just made. This is important here. I'm gonna pull the popsicle stick, or pull the wing to the popsicle stick, but I'm gonna put a wrap on the popsicle stick. And that'll prevent the stick from sliding out or your tie point moving anywhere. So I just make a couple of overhand knots, nothing real scientific there. On both sides, I'm just gonna rinse and repeat here, through the hole, wrap the stick, come on up, tie that thing and really stretch those wings out. Just gonna trim them. I don't like a sloppy looking bait. I don't think the fish mind, but I do. The other important piece of the equation is the hook rig. Pretty simple actually. What I've got is a Mustad Kaiju treble hook. I like a 5.0 or a 6.0. This is also a Mustad Kaiju J hook. These are both their high-end, super strong offshore hook. Then I'm rigging them. This is Seagar blue fluorocarbon in 300-pound test, and this is what I use to connect everything together. You need about a 10-inch leader between the eye of the J hook and the treble hook, and what that's going to do is connect the two together. Then for your actual bait leader, I'm using a real short section, a little over 3 feet maybe. And the reason I'm using this real heavy line is a lot of times when they bite this thing, they're going to swallow this whole rig. I like the Seagar in 300-pound test because they can't chew through it, and also because fluorocarbon is inherently tougher and more stiff, which won't let their teeth penetrate like they might do mono. You want to use a few crimps that are appropriately sized for the line you're using. That's the single most important thing about crimping. Everybody likes to hook the J hook a little bit different, and I've experimented a bunch of ways. Still, my favorite way to do it is there's a hard part right here in the back of the head. I want to try to bring it down as straight down the body so that the bait is balanced as I possibly can. So that went in straight and came out along the same line. The reason that's important is when I've got it hanging from the kite, I want him to hang as perfectly vertical as possible. You're never totally gonna nail it, but you wanna strive for perfection here because it's gonna make it easier to work that bait. Take the treble hook, there's some real heavy meat back here around this fin in his tail, on the top of his tail. I'm gonna stick this through that kind of tough skin that they have around their fins, and I'm just gonna bury it in there like that. And really, that's the whole rig. Now, when you fish this rig, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your kite up like you have normally. You're gonna run your rod, the line coming off of your rod, through the release clip. I love the AFCO release clips. Lock them down all the way so it takes maximum pressure to release that clip. The reason we put the clips so tight is that a lot of times they'll miss this bait. You gotta think a 200-pound tuna coming up out of the water, he's pushing a lot of water ahead of him just with his speed. They'll blow this out of the water, they'll miss it, another one will come get it, and it's happening right off the side of the boat. It is one of the most exciting ways to get a bite in any kind of fishing. Seeing 200-pound tuna compete over your bait is just awesome. Sometimes if it's really biting good, you can just lay it on the surface of the water, and believe it or not, they'll find it from 100 feet under. Another thing that we'll do is we'll send it out on the kite, on the electric reel, and then we'll slowly retrieve it. And then we'll loosen the drag on the electric reel so it slowly goes away, and we'll fish it away and back. It's a trick that the long range guys invented years ago, and it's still deadly today. The other thing that we'll do is we'll get this off the side of the boat about 75 yards or so, and then we'll just bump the boat in gear, and this will just kind of push along the surface of the water. And this guy's wings pushing a wake like that, it makes those tuna insane. One other trick that'll help you hook more fish with this rig is you want to have an indicator on your leader, not your bait leader, but your actual wind on that you're using on the rod, about 10 or 12, even 15 feet away from the boat. When you get bit, do not wind until that indicator goes underwater. And what that's telling you is the fish has actually got the bait and he swam with it, it's in his mouth. Because a lot of times they'll blow it up, and I'll see guys get all excited and start winding, and they're just pulling the bait away from the fish. Just wait till your indicator goes down, be very patient. It's so exciting, it's really hard. You'll definitely hook more fish, and just using this technique alone over skipping the yummy flyer or throwing a popper, you're gonna increase your catch count astronomically. It really is deadly. For me, these days, this is my go-to way to catch a big California bluefin. If you like this video and you want to learn more, please subscribe to our channel, and also in the comments, tell us what else you'd like to see. We're here to help you guys catch more fish. We want to know what you're struggling with. Maybe there's something you're unclear on. Ask away. There's no dumb questions. We appreciate you watching the videos, and keep an eye out for more.